Alright, so
You're fine to go first, right? You said you had an argument.
yeah, sure. So I mean, I kind of just want to state premises first. So I think I think that there's just multiple reasons why Ohma would win. I think he just has like better hacks and stuff like that. I think they might be relative in stats. And I think Ohma just takes it when it comes to like hacks and stuff like that. Like he's already countered Kuroki before, like some of his best tactics. If not that, then I think Ohma just outscales him. And I think I kind of want to go into that outscaling argument since it's just like faster. And so what's your premise?
Premise 1, Kuroki has higher AP. And premise 2, or well, how do I word that? I guess higher AP is fine. I can elaborate on it when we get into it, but premise 2 can be... What was I going to say? Fuck me. Premise 2 should be that his Korean is better. He's
Okay.
better Korean showing. So,
Is
you said you
that
wanted
it?
to get into his scaling? Yeah, those are my two premises.
Okay. All right, sure. So and I'll address those premises later.
Or
I think
actually, you know what? I have a third one.
yeah.
It's just, I believe it's stated also that Kuroki is superior.
Superior. Okay, I'll question that later on. So for my outscaling argument, let me send the scan.
I'm sorry, could you repeat your premises again? You had 3? I'm just gonna
Well,
list them here.
the first one was just basically that like, I think that even though they might be like relative stats, like Ohma and Kuroki, I think Ohma just has like better hacks and stuff like that. Also given the fact that like in their first fight, he's already like countered most of them, or like at least his best ones. And then the third one is like I think he just outscales, which is like a separate argument, which is the one I'm getting into.
So better hacks and can counter are like the same thing
Yeah, like
mainly?
he,
Okay.
yeah, like he's already like countered shit already from Kuroki back in Ashura. Okay,
Sure.
so
You can do it.
let me send this like first scan.
We're at, I guess the base scans there.
Wait, are you fine with Kano and Kuroki skating to each other?
In what regard, like stat-wise?
Just like overall. Like what I'm specifically referencing is how Kuroki was watching Kano fight in Omega, and he was like, "If we fought now, I couldn't tell who'd win, or like victory isn't guaranteed, or something like that."
I don't think that inherently means that like they're even, no.
They're even now. Why do you think that?
Because he said the same thing back in Ashura. And
Well,
he literally after kicking his chest and he said that shit. That he was an equal.
okay. So the thing that's wrong with that is like you can still be. How do I put it? Well, I'm not saying that like Kuroki saying that they're equal. I'm just saying that like they'd be relative. Because if you think about it, with Kuroki saying like, okay, if I fight this dude, I don't know who would win, and I think that's like a perfect sign of relativity.
Look, again, though, that doesn't change what I just said. Like, if Kuroki considers him as equal, that means he's not sure who will win. How can you be sure you can beat somebody who's your equal? And again, he said that right after fucking Kano up pretty badly.
Okay, and you think that like back in Ashura, Kuroki would be stronger than Kano?
Vastly, yes.
Vastly stronger. Okay, so
Well, vastly might be an exaggeration, but I would say a mid
okay, so just stronger, right?
Yeah.
And what is that based on?
At the end of his fight, Kano said he's moving like he's not even injured, and then Ohma also would agree with that because he shows up and he's like, "You're fit as a fiddle." So Kuroki didn't take any notable damage throughout their fight.
Okay, so
Whereas
the
Kano
problem.
was like on the ground, collapsed after.
Okay, I get what you're saying. So the
Yeah.
problem with that is I don't think that like you can use only damages like as an indicator for like difficulty or like relativity. So think of it this way, right? Um, let's say you and I are running a race,
Yeah.
and you beat me by like 1 millisecond, right? And then it happens constantly, right? You beat me like 1,000 times, but it's always like 1 millisecond, right? So there, even though right, like Kuroki has not been like hurt as much, at least not as like to Kano. you have to think about like the effort that was put into that, right? The effort to like make that happen.
I mean, yeah, I'm not arguing that he would, or well, no, talk if you have more to say.
Um, I'm trying to think of like a better analogy. Let's say, I don't really know, but you do understand my argument, right?
I mean, I'm
That
not
like
disagreeing that Kuroki had to take him seriously. Like, yeah, he was fighting seriously. That doesn't change the difficulty at which he won. Like, it wasn't a close fight.
it was not a close fight.
It was not a close fight. There was almost not one point. There's like one point where Kano dislocates his arm, and after that, he just isn't winning after that, ever. Kuroki
Um,
literally snaps his shit back into place immediately, and just Kano's not on the upper hand at all. Like, there's
okay,
nothing you can do after that.
yeah, that's fine. That really doesn't like contradict what I said earlier, where it's like we have to consider how much effort Kuroki had like put into that, and like your original justification was that like okay, Kuroki wasn't really damaged or whatever the fuck. That's fine, but again, like we have to look at the effort put into it.
I guess that like it comes down to a difference in definition. In my head, like fighting seriously and coming out relatively unscathed is like a mid diff. I don't think that constitutes a high difficulty match. Even if he is going all out, I don't think it's like a percentage power thing because he wasn't in danger of losing.
Okay, well, let me put it this way, right? So there are two fighters, right? Let's say you and I are fighting, right?
Yeah,
And like our stats are like equalized, right? Except for speed.
sure.
And it comes down to like we both have like a one shot technique, right? And this one and like us winning the fight is dependent on like who can like land this one shot technique first, right? So let's say you are like 1 millisecond faster than I am, and we shoot off the techniques at the same time, but then you end up
Or
winning, right?
actually, can you hold on a sec? Something
Sure.
just came up. Hold on.
mm, is Fury server muted? What have they done to my boy? You're not server muted anymore.
What's up?
No, they said you were server muted, but I took that off.
Who the fuck's server? What the hell?
Bro, people just be hating, bro.
Weird shit. What the hell?
Sorry about that. Somebody called me. Could you restate? I kind of lost where we
That's
were.
fine. Yeah, so I was just like giving an analogy, right? So like I was saying, our stats are equalized except for like, you know what? Fuck the stats, right? Let's just say we're both put in a situation, right? We're in a fight, and we can both like one shot each other, and we both shoot off like this attack at the same time at each other, right? But you're like 1 millisecond faster than me, and you can like land it first. So the end result is that I get one shotted, and you're like unscathed, right? So at that point, we can still determine the fight to be relative because of how close it was. You get what I'm saying? And that's like what I'm likening Kuroki versus Kano to. Is
So
that
you
like
think Kuroki had like, or I'm sorry.
yeah, like that was basically like it.
So you think Kuroki just has like a tiny edge on Kano, and that's why Kano couldn't touch him at all?
It could
You think
be
a tiny edge is enough to just come out completely unscathed from a fight?
well. The reason why I'm presenting that analogy is to like kind of go against the notion that like difficulty. How do I put it? Just to go against the notion, like your definition or like what you're saying, is that just because like a fighter comes out unscathed, you would consider that as like a mid diff. And I'm giving an
Yeah,
analogy to like counter that.
I mean, even in your analogy, I would agree that's a mid diff because if you just can't hit me, then it's not like I'm not in a difficult situation.
But that's fine. But you could still establish relativity, no? Because that's really what it comes down to. Like we'd still be
Again, like
relative
relative in what regard though?
as fighters.
Yeah, we're not relative as fighters if you can't hit me.
Well, what? How do I
Like
put
if
it?
I'm just consistently putting you down every time, even if it's due to a small difference, we're not relative. We're not close in power. I'm smacking you up
Well,
every time.
wait. But that's contradictory though, because like I had established, we are close in power.
Right. But like
Like
as
our
fighters
stats,
though.
wait. Our stats are equalized, right? And how do I put it? Yeah, like our stats are equalized. We one shot each other, right? But you're only like 1 millisecond faster than me, right? I still believe that you could like call those two fighters like you and I relative.
Like, yeah, stat wise we're equal, but like as fighters, if you can never touch me, we're not close as fighters. We're close in stats, sure, but if you lack the ability to get a hit in on me, we're not close as fighters.
Even okay, I think it's just like a difference in definition at that
Yeah,
point.
that's what I. Yeah, I agree. It's just a difference in definition.
So like let me just give you one more analogy, right?
Sure.
So going back to like the racing analogy, right? Let's say like like Usain Bolt is like racing Kevin Hart or whatever, and for some reason like Kevin Hart is always losing by like 1 millisecond, right, to Usain Bolt. Would you not say that Usain Bolt and Kevin Hart are like close as runners, like in running ability? Or would you say that like Usain Bolt is just like way better, like he's just not even close?
I would say that's disanalogous to the situation because in running there's just one thing, speed, whereas this is a fight. This is a contest of speed, power, endurance, tactics, and many other things. So
Okay.
taking a competition with just one metric, I think, is disanalogous.
Yeah, but what I'm referring to is specifically my analogy, though, because in my analogy, the only difference is just speed between you and me, and that's the
Right.
only thing preventing me from hitting you, right? So yeah, so it is analogous.
The race analogy isn't.
The race analogy is analogous to my one-shotting analogy, if that makes sense.
In your
Like,
one-shotting analogy, I'm not even sure I understand that because you said that like we have equal stats, but I'm faster than you.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm
yeah,
trying to
like,
wrap my head
like
around that one, big dog. I'm not gonna lie.
that's fine. You can just dismiss the equal sets. That I don't even know why I mentioned that. That's like irrelevant. It's basically like we both have one shot techniques, but you're just like slightly faster than me. You get it? So
Yeah,
fuck the
so
equal
we're
sets.
not relative. So if I'm faster than you and I can one-shot you, regardless of what you can do to me, we're not relative.
But I'm saying that we are relative because like this
We're relative in it.
the only difference between you and I is just like that 1 millisecond difference, right? Which goes back to my racing analogy, right? Where the only difference between Kevin Hart and Usain Bolt is just that that's 1 second, right? And you're just refusing to answer that question of whether or not you can determine these two to be relative if Usain Bolt is consistently beating Kevin Hart in a race by 1 millisecond. It's the same thing basically.
I disagree that it's the same thing though, and like I said, I explain why. Because in a fight, there are multiple other facets. Like it's
Yo,
just
I don't know who the judge is, but can you not just leave this to the judge? It's circular like crazy,
yeah,
bro.
we're just
It's a
repeating back to
horrible
each other.
fucking point. Just move on.
Back
I
That's
to
have
fine.
also been here the whole time, and this is a bad point.
That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. So it just kind of goes back to the whole definition thing, right? So
Well,
how do
why
you
don't
want to
we
go about
leave it
it
for
then?
the judge and we can proceed as we'll proceed as if you won the point for the sake of argument. And then I guess if the
Okay,
judge's eye was, then we'll have to figure something out.
okay, that's fine. So Kano would be relative to Kuroki, right, in Omega,
Yes.
right? Are you fine with Ohma scaling to Lolong in Omega?
Ohma relative to Lolong, just as a fighter?
Like overall, yeah, basically.
Yeah, okay, sure.
Okay, and you are aware that like
Well, actually, no, I'm not.
who do you think is stronger,
Lolong.
Lolong? Why?
Because at the beginning of the fight, he had him on the ground unconscious, and if it weren't a purgatory match, the fight would be over there.
Oh wait, so you're arguing like circumstances or what?
I'm arguing, I suppose, like, yeah, the circumstances.
Yeah, so I think you just can't apply that to like a regular fight because we need to take into context, right? That's like a purgatory fight. Even like Oma can afford to be like knocked down, right? Because like he could just get back up, right? I feel that under a regular fight, like for example, a Kengan match, he wouldn't be taking those like um he wouldn't be like reckless, you get what I'm saying? And we know this to be true because like Ohma was acting different. He took a hit from Lolong, and he was purposely resting on the ground, right? If it was like a Kengan match or like just a regular match, he would have gotten up immediately. So there are differences like in the fight that you just can't say like, okay, this context would apply to like in general.
So you're saying that Ohma, under different circumstances, would be capable of blocking Lolong's punch that knocked him out? Blocking or avoiding somehow?
Well, that's not really what I'm saying. I'm just saying like, how do I put it? I'm speaking in general.
So if he's
Like,
if he's not capable of avoiding the punch that knocked him out under different circumstances, why the fuck does it matter?
No. That's not what I'm saying, right? I'm not taking a specific stance on like whether he can or can't. What I'm saying is that you just can't take what's happening in a purgatory match and say, okay, the same thing would be applicable to like a regular match. Like I'm going against that whole notion. I don't think I have to go into like specific instances or whatever the fuck if I'm just like attacking the entire notion. You get what I'm saying?
They were saying like, so you're saying that the whole fight would be completely different, so the situation wouldn't apply, right?
Yes, and I already substantiated it.
Yes,
Wait,
okay. And I have
not like completely different. Like I'm not saying Oma would like smash Lolong. You get what I'm saying?
of course not, yeah.
Yeah.
You're saying that like the situation of, but I don't understand. So you're saying Lolong wouldn't use that punch on him, or we don't know if he would, I guess.
Well, not well. Like I said, like all we
Like it
know,
just
like
That's
all I'm
alright.
trying to establish is that they're like relative. That's all I'm trying to establish. Like I don't think that like going into like, okay, would Lolong throw this punch? Okay, would Oma block this punch on like different circumstances? I don't think that's like really relevant.
I think it's entirely relevant because that kind of depends whether or not they're relative. If you consider Lolong being able to just take out Ohma like that, like if you
Okay.
consider it applicable.
Right. But the thing is, the reason I'm mentioning it, right, is because you're saying your justification for them not being relative is circumstantial.
Oh yeah, I did agree to that, didn't I? Shit, yeah. Okay, you're right. Then they are relative.
Okay. So you're aware that like it's consistent in the verse for like a fighter's aura to like display their power.
No, it's not consistent.
It's not consistent.
It's not.
Um
Do you want me to substantiate that, or you just
well, do you know what I mean? Like what I'm saying is that
like you're referring to the scan, like where it happens a lot throughout Kengan, where fighters have like different levels of pressure, and it's like it's how strong they are. They can like tell by looking at each other.
yeah, it's something along those lines. Like
Like
it's
I
not
know what
just,
you're
like,
talking about. I'm pretty sure.
yeah, like it's not
If you
just
want to clarify for me, then by all means. But
oh yeah. Yeah, like it's not just strength, like it can be like indicative of like certain traits or whatever. Like Okoya, when he was giving off like his aura, all the assassins were like, okay, he has like a kindred spirit, you know. His aura is like a killing aura or something along those lines. You know what I'm saying?
I think they said that like he killed a lot of people or some shit.
Yeah. So
You can like
I,
see the
I think
soul radiating off him. Yeah. Okay.
yeah, and like for Yuki as well, right? Like all the skulls around him, like Okoye was like feeling that, and he was like, yeah, this dude has like killed a bunch of people.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so like it's consistent. Like we see it over and over again. Where, like a fighter's aura is just like indicative of something.
Yeah. It's indicative of something. I mean, like I have an issue though with it.
Well,
It's
what's your
just
issue?
not consistent. Like it's consistently indicative of something, but I mean the thing it's indicative of is not consistent. Like in round one, Kano and Okuba were literally matched in aura. Like the referee saw two fucking giant ass wolves nose to nose meet in the middle. You know, he was like no idea how the match is
Yeah.
gonna end. And then it was a
So wait,
stomp.
just for just for terminology, you're saying that like it's not accurate, right?
Yeah, or is
Yeah.
accurate. That's the word I'm trying to look for.
Okay. So so you're saying that like okay, it's wrong because like the referee saw like these two auras or something or what?
I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm saying that we can't use them to judge solely on auras. Like you
That's
need
fine.
something else.
That's fine. So the problem with that is like I think it's kind of like perspective based, right? Because we were looking at those 2 hours from like the referee's perspective, right? And we were listening to like as an audience, right? We were reading the referee's take on the situation, right? Because like that is important because I think the context was like right before that they were saying like, okay, this referee had seen like multiple fights or whatever like that. Like he was a really experienced referee, but yet he couldn't tell. So the these auras, right, and how characters interpret them are just that, right? It's just the character's interpretation of it. And I think just because like this character can't interpret auras correctly or whatever, or like he sees them a certain way, it wouldn't apply to my situation, which I'm gonna argue later, right? Of how it was Nitoku who was the one that like gave a specific stance about like Lolong giving like a stronger aura than Kano. And I think that Nitoku is just like a better source compared to this referee.
Okay, so what about Ohma then? Because Ohma hyped up Inaba as like a giant fucking spider monster demon, and then fucking rolled him. And Inaba is weak. Like, let's not kid around. But still, in Ohma's mind, he was a strong, huge monster. So are you saying that Nitoku is like also a better source than Ohma?
Well,
Because
I
for
mean,
your argument to
I
the
could.
or do you have an issue with?
I mean, look, if I'm being honest, I would say that Omega Nitoku, after fighting Liu Dongcheng and after looking all of these fights, would be a much more credible source than round one Oma from Ashura. You get what I'm saying? But just
You
to
think
go back,
experience or sorry.
well, it's not just experience; it's just more like what you've seen. You get what I'm saying?
So
But like,
experience.
well, how do I put it?
So combat
Okay.
experience, like
Okay. Well, my bad, my bad. Because in my head, I interpreted like experience as like a time thing or something like that. And I was thinking about like the referee, like okay, the referee has like more experience time wise than Omo, but yet Omo's like a more credible thing. That's what I was thinking in my mind.
you see how
But
none of this makes sense? You see how this is weird? Like
it's just I don't know. It's just like a weird terminology thing between the both of us. But what was I gonna say? Yeah, to counter the point about like Oma seeing as Inaba's a spider, that really doesn't contradict my argument because, like I was saying, it's based on the character's interpretation of what they're saying, right? So in that specific instance, Oma was like in base form or whatever the fuck, and wait, actually, you know what? That doesn't even matter. So in that specific instance, right, it's not even like a strength type of thing. It was more like a detail type of thing. Like that specific aura was revealing a detail about Inaba, right? And like he's like portrayed as a spider, right? Which is accurate because like he just grabs him like on a web or something, like with his hair and just like slams him around. So it's not necessarily like a strength type of thing. It's more like a detail type of thing, which we already agreed to.
just hold on, I'm looking for a scan here.
Go ahead. Nah, that's crazy. If someone can mute Kai, please do that, bro.
Yeah, fuck you, Kai.
I don't even hear Kai.
Just saying the truth, man.
Listen, I would say something, but this is being recorded, so no.
Oh my god.
Oh no.
You were gonna call him a faggot, weren't you?
No, that's not the contrary. No, actually no.
You were gonna call him heterosexual?
No, not that. Not that either.
The contrary, bro.
You guys are some
Not
fucking
that
He
either.
was just gonna spit game to me. That's all he's gonna do.
Can't blame him.
Maybe so. I'm not gonna confirm or deny that.
He's confirming it.
No, that's crazy. Go on mute, bro.
If it wasn't, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, we can debate on that later.
I'll take a concession.
On a
Yeah,
debate that hasn't
no.
started. Okay, that's fine.
You just agreed to concede on the debate that hadn't started.
He did.
That's like impossible.
That's what I heard.
I mean, yeah, I can take an impossible concession. I'm just like that. I'm different.
I'm just
Oh,
like
for
that.
sure.
Go on mute, bro.
Why'd you say it so?
because I was
So,
mimicking
faggot
you.
like. Why'd you say it like that?
I was okay. I was gonna say I was mimicking you, but then when you said it was like F
Y'all want to
slurred, like
stop bullying
I'm
Billy?
gonna I'm gonna
I
retract.
won again.
That's motherfucker, bro. Villain losing, in my opinion. Pog, you've been such a goofy ass bro. Or he's not even here.
She's not in VC, dumbass.
Oh my god.
Bro,
Schizophrenic idiot.
No. Darius, you see how this dude is
this
always
is crazy.
Jesus Christ, man.
I
He's
mean,
just
fuck it, I'm here for it.
Don't
but-
use the Lord's name in vain, villain.
looking for every little mishap.
Stop stuttering and get back to
Jesus
the debate.
Christ. Look, you see, he just proves my point. Literally just
Okay.
proves my point, bro.
So are you guys gonna like continue the debate, or is villain gonna be like a
Yeah,
whiny?
no, I just found a.
I'm just waiting for Darius to get his
Okay.
point. Jesus
Alright.
Christ. You see, you don't even know.
This is Kano
don't
versus.
even know what's going
Is this
on.
Kano
You
versus Ohma?
don't even know what's going on. Bro.
No, this is Kuroki versus Ohma.
Oh,
So, read the scan and tell me that's not about strength.
Okay, so let me see. Okay, I could. Let me see. He's tiny, but that's just a disguise. It's not a sort of pathetic logic that's telling me that. I've had this intuition plenty of times for this guy's strong. Okay, that's fine. I'll just concede on that sub point because I really didn't like know this shit. But my main point isn't really like contradicted by this because
What's
like I
your
was saying,
main point?
my main point is that like a fighter's strength can be determined like by whatchamacallit, but like their aura, right? And I was saying like in this context, Ohma is like still in base, right? And you're saying, okay, this is contradicted because like Ohma rolls him and like
I'm not saying it's my claim isn't contradiction. I'm saying that your measurement, your tool of measurement, isn't reliable. It's not accurate
because
it's proven to be proven to be fallible before. I'm never claiming contradiction.
Okay, so you're saying that like it's debunkable, right? Or what? Like in this specific instance, my measurement is like debunked, right?
No, I'm just saying that it's not a reliable form of measurement. Like
Okay, but why?
you haven't even shown me the instance. Like
No, you're presenting an instance, right? And I'm assuming that you're using it as like as a contradiction or like as a debunk, but you're saying no. So if that's not
I'm
the
not-
purpose of you sending the scan, then what are you presenting to counter my like measurement?
okay, yeah. So this, I guess that is contradicting to your measurement. Then I misunderstood what you were talking about.
Okay, right. So like I had said
So
before. Oh
yeah,
go.
okay, talk.
Okay, so so like I said, I'll just concede on the sub point about like, okay, this is like they're referring to a detail or whatever. So okay, this is like indicative of strength, right? And the reason why that is because you're saying, okay, Inaba was weak, he got ruled by Ohma. But the issue is that like this is like in reference to like his hair, right? You would agree?
You know, Ohma didn't know about his hair yet. This is the beginning of the fight.
No. But he's getting this information from like his aura, is what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying. Like this isn't reliable. Like his aura is not a reliable form. Like just getting this information from his aura is just like he was wrong. Like it's just not the case. An aura doesn't really like you can be wrong about auras, even if it does tell you it's strong. It's just it doesn't mean it's true.
Okay. So
That's
okay,
all
so
I'm
that
trying
just
to
goes back.
establish.
Yeah, so that just goes back to my original argument, right? Because this is proven to be true. Because, like I was saying, right, I was gonna argue the context anyways. Because, like, at some point, what's his face? Inaba is like he grabs him by the leg and is like literally fucking dragging him, right? So that is indicative of like you could say Inaba's real strength, right? Like the disguise has been gone away, and this is like Inaba's true form or whatever the fuck. It's like a spider, right? He latches onto like his enemies or whatever, like a spider web, and just like swings them around. So this, almost like interpretation of like the aura he's looking at is true, right? And you can like it's kind of subjective in a way. Like this guy's strong, it is right, but like how do I put it? Even then, like it's still proven to be true, right? Like if a guy, like from your perspective, right? If a guy latches something onto you and he's like swinging you around like 30 feet in the air, you'd call him strong too.
Not if I could explode and break out of it and then blitz him.
Well, like I said, almost in base.
But he's aware he has the advance, regardless. When he makes the statement, like he's aware it's an option.
Okay. Well, the thing is, you can still think that like
Listen.
someone is strong, and you can still
and
be strong.
Or I'm sorry, you know what? Talk. I shouldn't be trying to talk over you.
Okay,
Been a while
I'll
since-
I'll just say one quick thing, right? You can still think that someone is strong and be stronger than them. But go ahead.
Yeah, so I was just gonna say that. Oh, Inaba isn't even strong in reference to like the vast majority of the tournament's fighters.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's all I was gonna say.
Okay. So, just as a debunk to that, Ohma really doesn't have knowledge on like these other fighters. So from his perspective, all he really knows is like this guy, and he knows like Kiryu, I guess, and like yeah.
Well, this is
So
the last fight in round 1, I'm pretty sure.
Ohma fights like this. Ohma is like the second. No. The
Oh
third.
no, the 4th fight. You know what? I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was Kano that was the last fight. That was my mistake. So, okay. So you're trying to say, I'm just making sure to recap to understand the point here. So you're trying to say that aura is a form of measurement of strength, right? That's all you're trying to say?
Yeah, and that it's like it's based on like the character.
And
Like
that
the
it can also pick up other details too.
Yeah, it can serve as like both things.
Yeah.
For
Okay.
both things.
And my response to that is simply that it's not always reliable. That's all I'm trying to say.
And you brought up this scan.
Do you have a contention with it? With that statement? Do you think it's always reliable?
Sure. I mean, how about this? How about this? Let's say that it's like I feel like even if you win this point, I still think that my point would go through because like let's say it's not always reliable, right? I could still argue that in my case, like in the Nitoku case, right, it could still be reliable. You get what I'm saying?
So okay.
So
I'm fine to just move on to the new
wait,
Nitoku point. So we don't have to. Yeah.
Yeah, we just move on.
Let's just get into that.
Yeah, as if you like won the point. So let me send the scan of Nitoku then. I'd have to find it actually. 130. Give me a sec. By the aura. Oh my god. Okay, so this is the specific instance I was talking about. So it was like so Nitoko has like this specific reaction where he's like his thoughts are like just straight up like scrambled up. And after that, like he collects himself and he's like such pressure. Could it even be greater than what I felt from Kano? No wonder he's the mightiest man in purgatory, right? So I think at that point, it's just indicative of like Ilolong being stronger.
Stronger than Kano?
Yeah.
Which Kano is Nitoku comparing him to here?
The recent one, obviously.
I don't think it's obvious at all. How the fuck would he know what the recent Kano's pressure is like?
Because he just watched him fight Lution.
So can you show me that he sensed his pressure? Or that he felt his pressure?
What do you mean?
Because obviously he's not constantly giving off this pressure, right? He's not fucking Conqueror's hockeying people.
Yeah. Yeah, like it's not like a passive thing. It's more like an active thing, right?
Exactly. So show me that Kano was giving it off going into his fight with Lution.
Yeah. So the thing is, I don't really think I have to. It's more like an inductive argument. You get what I'm saying? So
Why?
how do I phrase it? Um,
Because that was your claim just now, that
I
he
had-
sensed it from the recent Kano that fought Lution.
I had the fucking argument. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah.
Dylan, you want outside help, bro?
No, shut the fuck up. So I think contextually, right, we can just make the inductive argument that he would be referencing like the most recent Kano, right? Because like I'm not gonna okay, well I'm gonna try to pick argue argument, right? You were gonna say that he would be referencing like the Kano he fought,
Yes.
right? So I don't think it would make any sense for Lolong's aura to be like higher, but relative to like a Kano way before the pre-King Annihilation tournament. You get what I'm saying?
Well, we've already agreed that it's not always strength and that sometimes it's detail. So maybe it was just an intimidation factor, and that's why he compares him to the mightiest man in Purgatory, because at the time Kano was also the mightiest man in the Kengan Association.
Let me see.
So for us, this is maybe not might not even have anything to do with strength.
Yeah, so that's so the reason why that doesn't work is because he talks about strength like right after, right? I don't think
Yeah,
like
you want to show?
yeah. Well, it's right there, right? So like no wonder he's the mightiest man in Purgatory, right? Which is just referencing strength. But
That's
about
status.
this whole
Well, I guess talk. Yeah, you're trying to say something. Let me not talk over you.
yeah. So like about this whole intimidation thing, right? That could work, but the problem with that is you can't be like the strongest in Purgatory with intimidation alone.
Right, but I'm referring to that's what his pressure is. Like Kano's. How am I trying to say this? Lelong's level of like intimidation and like hype and like just the sheer pressure of him walking around is like, because this happens in real life too, right? Like real
Yeah.
life, people give off orders and shit. Yeah. So Lelong is just so like intimidating. Like his presence is just so crazy that none of the other fighters compare, and that's what Nitoku is talking about.
Yeah. I
In the
would
same
agree.
way, hold on. In the
Oh,
same
I
way
got
that Kano does in the Kengan Association, when he shows up, the audience all shuts the fuck up. Everybody loses their shit because he's the Fang of Metsudo, undefeated record. I think it's the same deal.
Yeah.
Or I think
So
it
I
could
would
be, I should say.
yeah. So I would agree with that first part, right? Like people IRL do give out auras, right? Like I do it all the time, right? Like
Yeah, passive dick sucking aura, my ability.
that's a dick sucking on me, all the bitches like surround me,
Yeah.
whatever. But let's not get into that. Let's not get into that. But the reason why that argument doesn't really work is because the way it's presented, it's like a cause and effect thing, right? So if you just read what it says verbatim, it says such pressure could it even be greater than what I felt from Kano. No wonder he's the mightiest in Purgatory, right? So you can't say that like, okay, this pressure is referencing intimidation. No wonder he's the mightiest man in Purgatory. Because like I had said before, you can't become the mightiest with just intimidation alone. And I think you agreed with that, right? So
Yeah, I agree with that. Because I'm not trying to say it's like intimidate. I'm trying to argue like status as the mightiest.
yeah. So
That's why
like,
I keep making the comparison to Kano being like the peak of the Kengan Association. It's like both have this status as the strongest.
yeah. So at that point I could just replace like intimidation with status, right? Like you can't be the strongest in like your respective organization or whatever with like status alone either. Like you'd have to have strength to back up that status, right? Obviously. So again,
Right, but
with the whole cause and effecting, right? It says such pressure could it even be greater than what it felt. No wonder he's the mightiest man in Purgatory, right? It would make the most sense for this specific pressure to be referencing like strength, right? Because like let's say we replace pressure with strength. So it says like such strength could it even be greater than what I felt from Kano? No wonder he's the mightiest man in Purgatory. Like you see how
okay.
it still works, right?
Yeah, now let's replace pressure with intimidation. Shuts intimidation. Could it be even greater than what I felt from Kano? No wonder he's the mightiest man in Purgatory. It still works fine. Like, he doesn't mention strength explicitly anywhere. Like, there's no indication that this is about strength. Except for the mightiest man in Purgatory, which I've already addressed, is a matter of status similar to Kano.
Okay, so I'll address that right now, but like I'll address that like a mightiest part about that status, right? But for now, that like what you opened up with, I literally already addressed that, right? I'm saying that this is like a cause and effect thing, so we can just leave this up to the judges, and I can address the mightiest part. Is that fine with you?
I'd like to conclude on this point just because. So,
I mean, it's
do you
on
want to go first, or
record.
shall I?
I mean, it's on
Just
record.
because I feel like I have more I want to point out, I guess, because I feel like you're not understanding what I'm trying to say.
I mean, you can extrapolate on it, and we can stay on the point. I don't mind.
Okay, yeah, I'll explain. And if you feel after this explanation still that we're going circular, then it's fine. I'm fine to move on.
Sure.
So, let me just take a second to compose. Like, I understand your cause and effect thing, but it doesn't it doesn't change what I'm saying. Like, even if it is cause and effect, it's still like in line with what I'm talking about. And that's even if it is. We don't even know if it is. That's all I'm trying to say. Or well, yeah, that's essentially what I'm getting at.
Okay, so what you're arguing is for like an equal interpretation, right?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, I think I already counted it, and just for the sake of like concluding, like this is like a half conclusion or whatever, I say that
Get your final shot in, and then we can move on.
yeah, I'd say that like I already counted it because you already agreed that like you can't be the top of like your respective organization with status alone or like with intimidation alone, right? And like I had said before, you could change pressure for like strength, right? And my argument would still be concise with the manga or like what the manga is trying to portray. So
Sure. Yeah, okay, we can just leave this up to judgment. And you said you wanted to address the mightiest part?
yeah.
Okay, sure.
So,
Go ahead.
yeah, so I think that like mightiest would just be in referencing to like strength. Let me just send the definition for mightiest.
Well, yeah, you don't need to define mightiest. It's in reference to strength.
Well, you said that like mightiest was like a status.
Its status is the strongest, similar to Kana.
So wait, in this context, wouldn't they just be like how do I put it? Like similar or like the same?
Like, could you rephrase that just to make sure I understand what you're saying?
Okay, so what I was thinking is that like you were saying, okay, no wonder he's the mightiest man in purgatory. You were saying like, okay, that's just in reference to like his status, right? Not really like strength. But then what
No.
I'm saying,
Okay, well, no, continue.
go. Oh, okay, well, and then what I'm saying is that like, okay, that last part about like knowing that he's the mightiest man in purgatory is specifically referencing like strength, right? But then like you're saying that like it's also strength, like his status as the strongest.
Okay, so let me rephrase because I think you've been misunderstanding my argument then this whole time. So my argument is that being the strongest in an organization gives you this aura of intimidation, and that's why he compares it to what he felt with Kano.
So okay, so you think that like
yeah,
oh you're going.
I was just gonna say it's like this final boss pressure, you know, like this is it, like he's the hype guy, you know, big Chad, big dick fucking Lo Long coming through. Same thing with Kano, he would have that same energy, and that's why he compares the two, even to round one Kano. That's why the comparison can still work. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying it's like just intimidation and that's why he's the mightiest. I'm saying it's his intimidation as the mightiest in purgatory that's giving him this aura. The same. That's why Kano would have it, because he's the mightiest in the Kengan Association, so he would have a similar aura.
Yeah, yeah, I think I would just use the same argument I was gonna present anyway.
Okay,
Right?
all right, yeah, all right. You can go ahead and present it.
Just taking the statement at face value, right? So it just says right there, no wonder he's the mightiest man in purgatory, right? And like it's just mightiest. So no wonder he's like the strongest man in purgatory.
All
But
right, all right, well,
wait, just because I do feel like I did like misunderstand that last part about like the status thing.
okay, I'm gonna try to see if I can write this out and make it a bit more clear.
Sure.
I haven't done this in so long, dude. Shit, I'm all over the place.
Are you typing out like scaling or what? Or
I'm trying to type out a statement and have it like not be what I've just been saying over and over.
like a paraphrase? Like you're paraphrasing?
I'm trying to rephrase different, like the same thing I said differently. Like you know how a synonym works, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to do that with my whole phrase.
Uh-huh.
So, okay, let me say it like this. Lolong is the king of purgatory, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm saying that with that title, there comes a pressure, and that's what Nutoku is feeling.
I'm listening.
And Kano is the emperor of the Kengan Association, right? And I'm saying with that title,
Used
he
to
would
be.
have a pressure. Or, well, it used to be.
Uh-huh.
And that's why this statement can work with round one Kano.
Uh-huh.
Did that clarify it all?
Yeah. So
Okay.
yeah. So the thing with that is like Kano no longer holds this status.
Right, but we're talking about in reference to round one Kano because we already moved on from Luteon and that Kano.
Okay, give me a second. With me bringing up the rear, if it is impossible, such pressure could even be greater than what I feel from Kano. And I did make the argument before that it would just like, in terms of power scaling, it would just be more in reference to like the most recent Kano, right?
You mentioned that, yeah, and then I pointed out that you don't even know if Kano was giving off this pressure going into that fight.
Mm-hmm.
And then you didn't really reply to that with anything.
Well,
At least not in my opinion. Maybe the judge is going to bring up some crazy shit, but we've already
I
moved
argued. I just argued like the context, and I think I mentioned like the consistency. I don't know if it did, but it was just mainly like context. Like it would make way more sense for it to be like referencing the most recent Kano, anyways. But,
yeah, we've already done this argument, so.
Uh-huh.
You have anything else?
Me bringing up the rear defeat is impossible. Like I'm still trying to like wrap my head around what you're saying. So
yeah, no, that's fine. Take your time.
He's the mightiest man in purgatory, and you're saying it would be like in reference to like the same status that Kano had before.
No, I'm not. Like the mightiest man in purgatory, I'm saying that Kano or Nitoku would have had the same opinion of Kano back in the day. Like he would have been, oh, no wonder he's the mightiest man in the Kengan Association. You say something? You cut out.
I'm just like I'm thinking. This is a thinker. Let me see, because I'm trying to find a way to argue that like our arguments aren't really like mutually exclusive, but it's like I had it, but I lost
Stop
it.
fucking doing that. You're killing me.
Let me see. Bro, I fucking had it. Let me see. Think about it.
I'm sorry for cutting you off so much, by the way. I haven't debated in so long. Dude, it's just
Yeah, that's fine.
like
It
formal.
wasn't even that bad. It wasn't even bad at all, to be honest. Let me get the context of the scan actually. Okay. Okay, so I get it now, right?
Oh, you get it, great.
The thing with this is that like Kano is still, how do I put it? He still holds this like this level of authority. You get what I'm saying? and like within like the Kangen Association or whatever the fuck. So like even though he doesn't like officially hold that title, he could still like possess this aura. You want me to like prove that or something?
I mean, my issue isn't that he's possessing this aura; it's that we don't know if he was giving it off going into that fight. Especially
but
where he has like an entirely different personality now. There's really no way to know it all.
well, we already went over that. You know what I'm saying? And then like
Yeah, okay, we did already go over that, so I'm not sure I understand your reasoning here then. Like, what was the point of bringing that up if we've already gone over it?
I don't know, like you're using like a counter that like we already argued before, like a previous argument to like argue that. But the point that I'm trying to make is that like Kano can still possess like this aura, right? Even though he's not the official like king of Kangen or whatever. And I asked you like, do you want me to like prove that?
No, I agree. He could still possess an aura on this level.
Okay, so if he still possesses that aura, right? Nitoku could be like basing it off of that aura, right? The aura of like the most recent Kano and compare that to Long.
So you still haven't proven that he was giving it off. Like, you have to prove that. You can't just say, "Oh, you've already asked me to prove it," and then move on.
Yeah.
No, you haven't demonstrated that.
Okay, the thing is, you're placing a burden on me that you already like placed on me beforehand.
Because you haven't fulfilled it.
We already went over that. I argued the context.
You want to just move on because we're at an impasse here.
Yeah, sure. So,
Okay.
I guess that's pretty much it.
Yeah. So
For my
again,
part.
for the sake of argument, we'll just move on as if you won.
Sure.
And then I guess we can return to this if God judges that you lost. And just go from there. So go on. Continue your scale as if you won.
Oh, well, that was it, right? So, Ohma scales to like low long, based on like the oral argument is like skating above Kano, and then Kano scales above Kuroki. And that was it.
Okay, sure. So that's your argument, assuming all of your points go through.
Sure.
All right, now I'll present my counter argument. I believe that Kuroki would be stronger because let me get the scan for this too. He's status to be the strongest in Ashura, and even in Omega, Ohma only scales relative to Ryan. So the statement would still apply because Kuroki is stronger than Ryan.
Kuroki is still stronger than Ryan, you said?
Yeah, and even Lo Long is only relative to Ryan, or at least in Carla's opinion.
Interesting.
I'm just grabbing your statement for you right now.
Actually, while you're getting that, I'm gonna take a piss, bro.
Yeah, go ahead, bro. Low-key villain's gotten better. The guy didn't
Yo, I
expect
saw
him
that.
as he is.
Still sucks.
Yeah, we're both still ass, but
Hi, who's Darius?
Darius?
Yeah, do you
That's
know
my-
Darius?
That's my king, yeah.
Oh,
Have you
it's
sex
like
with them?
what?
Okay, I'm back.
That's bannable.
Wait, stop. So let me see.
Bro, I came to watch this debate to see villains Spurge. I didn't hear it once.
I wanna hear Villain call him a retard.
All day.
Max,
One
you're a
of the-
retard.
Darius for 100%, maybe.
Nick going crazy. Why'd y'all
That's
deafen and mute Felton?
They're tripping.
Somebody gotta
I
get
didn't do that.
stripped for that shit.
So,
Somebody getting killed.
So with this scan, you're arguing that like Kuroki's the strongest.
Yeah,
What's
Kuroki's
that?
strongest. You'll just see the first paragraph doesn't really comment on it, and then in the second, at first he was supposed to overwhelm Rihito in the first round, only to hand him the victory, and then train Rihito as a mentor. But I decided to prioritize the sense of this tournament being the one where the strongest man wins, and he ended up winning the whole thing.
Okay. Let me see.
And then the next paragraph isn't really relevant to his training project.
Prioritize the sense of the tournament being the one where the strongest man wins, and he ended up winning the whole thing. So you're saying like he's the strongest in the K-Naja tournament?
Yeah.
Is that it?
Well, for this scan, yes. That's all I'm trying to do with this scan.
Sure.
Okay, and now I'm saying that would put him above Ryan. Do you have a contention with that?
Why would Kuroki being stronger than like a weaker version of Ryan put him above like a stronger version of Ryan and Omega?
Ryan is stronger in Omega?
Yes.
How do you know?
He trains.
How do you know?
We see him training with Ohma.
I don't think it's training per se. If he's just beating the shit out of Ohma like a speed
Wait,
bag.
Darius, did you read the same series? Is this a flop?
Hey yo.
Wait, this is like common knowledge. Like Ryan trains with Ohma, right? And it's not just like him beating
Well,
the
yeah,
shit. They do
I know
techniques.
Ryan, but they do technique.
So we get stronger.
Like, no, you didn't you cut me out right in the middle of that. We were talking over each other. It's not like that, but yeah. I was gonna say Ryan trains with Ohma, sure, but it's training for Ohma, not really for Ryan. Like if you spar with somebody, if a black belt spars with a white belt, the black belt doesn't improve any. He just kicks the white belt's ass. And that's really how it was against Ohma and Ryan, and that's stated that at first Ohma was getting his shit mopped, and it's only until recently that Ryan or Ohma even started to catch up, let alone like.
Okay, so
and even still, Ryan has the winning record. Like,
okay. So I don't know if
yeah,
you've
I'm gonna
noticed
have
it,
to
but
see that he got stronger.
but there's already a contradiction in your argument, right?
Sure.
You're saying let's say hypothetically I steel man the fact that like a black belt beating the shit out of like a white belt in training doesn't like make them stronger, right? Okay, that's fine. So like you had admitted, right?
Yeah.
The record
agree
between
on
them
that.
is like getting closer and closer, right? We're to the point where even Ohma now is winning some fights, right?
Yeah.
So that shows like signs of relativity, right? So that whole example of like, okay, someone far stronger than you isn't gonna prove if they're just beating the shit out of you, right? That's not what's happening here at all, right? Because we see that like Ohma admits it or whatever the fuck, and even Carla cites it, right? When she's like talking about like certain power scaling, like, okay, yeah, Ohma is dubbing Ryan as well. So that example just doesn't work here.
So are you aware that Ryan is like an ultra prodigy? Like he's a 1 in 1,000-year talent? Like a genius among geniuses?
What the fuck are you saying, bro?
Okay, yeah, I'll show you that, sure. Hoping it's in the scan server because I don't want to have to go back to early Osher.
Ryan is a genius of geniuses.
Dude, Ryan is literally like
what was the
fucking
context?
super talent.
What was the context behind that? I'll probably remember it. Like, what was the context?
I think it's during his introduction, perhaps.
In his character profile or like in story introduction?
No, it's his in-story production. Yeah, it's in story introduction. I'm not even sure if it is. Let me reread and find it. I'm not gonna.
You mean where he stated he's like a monster among the Kure?
It might even be in his fight with Ohma. Hold on, I'm gonna find it.
Okay.
Because clearly you don't know what the fuck I'm talking about.
I don't think anyone knows what the fuck you're talking about.
Yeah, okay, hold on.
I don't think anyone's like Like the
Maybe I'm
fan
in
base
fallen
has
duty.
ever, like the fan base has ever called Ryan like a genius of geniuses.
I'm pretty sure.
And
Okay.
like there's several things wrong with that argument, if I'm being honest. Not just like the fact that it could be wrong or potentially be wrong, but even like dismissing that notion, right? Like, first of all, right, let's say he is a genius. A genius can still have like weak techniques, right? We know this to be a
Well,
fact
that's
because
not
in
where I'm going
Astro,
with this.
well,
I'm
it's
gonna
more
argue that
like a defeater to your, not a defeater to your argument, but more so like I'm kind of like hypothetically steel manning it. I'm saying like it doesn't really go anywhere. But
yeah,
go ahead.
that's not where I'm going. I'm going with this is that if Ryan is an ultra prodigy and he's a genius, and Ohma is growing faster than him, it wouldn't make any sense if Ryan were improving. Like Ryan would improve faster than Ohma if he were improving, but he doesn't clearly because Ohma is catching up.
Uh-huh. You know,
So that would mean Ryan doesn't improve from these
you
fights.
know, well, I mean, you know that Oma also shares like these same traits of like being like a genius in fighting too, right?
If you want to get me, well, a genius in fighting is different from being a prodigy.
Okay, well,
You can be a clever fighter and like have
I'm
great.
speaking like I'm speaking like similes, right? Like a genius in fighting or whatever. Like I'm basically likening Oma to like Ryan in your example. So it's the same thing, it's just the terminology is different.
You're trying to say that Ohma is also like a prodigy.
Yeah, you could say the same thing.
Okay, you want to substantiate that for me?
Yeah, so Lolong kind of says it. Like his latent battle potential is like even greater than mine, or something along those lines.
Yeah, this.
And wait,
Get
and I
the words just so we have it.
the reason why that is relevant. Hold on, and I already sent the scan. Just scroll up. Wait, did I? I don't see it. If someone is out here deleting scans, bro, that would be insane.
They are, dude. They literally are. It's insane.
They're deleting
What
scans.
server? This server?
No, not
No.
this. Oh, I thought you meant like from the internet. Like they're hunting
Oh,
down fucking
you mean
Kangen
like?
websites.
Oh, you mean
Yeah.
like Villain and Max server? Well, like where they?
Manga C.
No. I'm saying like Kangen websites that host scans. Like they're getting hunted, dude.
Oh,
What? Wait.
yeah,
Why
I
not
agree
just
with
Manga
go
you.
to
C
the
is the only
manga?
I
one.
agree with you.
Yeah.
Wait,
So
you mean like
It's
manga
just
websites?
disappearing.
yeah. Anyways, I was gonna reference a scan that I had sent previously,
Oh, okay.
but I can't find it, so I'll just like resend it. Did I ever
Alright.
send a scan though?
I don't
think I-
remember it.
I don't. Anyways, so like I said about like this whole battle potential thing, right? Lolong basically says like, okay, Oma has like this latent battle potential. It could even be greater than mine or whatever. And the reason why that's relevant is because like we have an author statement here saying that like in terms of true strength and ability, Lolong can be perceived as greater than or equal to Ryan. Ryan is like approximately equal to Oma, whatever. However, since there's almost no difference in skill level between the three, it's absolutely possible to like the ranking can change at any time. And that's also another like again, it's not a defeater, but it just like goes against this whole notion or whatever. Because like even at the end of the day, right? Let's say that Ryan is like a super prodigy, right? He'd still skip like Oma and like Lolong anyways.
Well, yeah, that's fine. That I didn't argue that. Just let me find the statement. We can.
And I still have like two more counter arguments to like this whole.
Yeah, that's okay. I'll hear them out.
Wait, I say him or no?
Huh?
You want me to say them or do you want me to like? leave
Yeah, I'm just browsing through scans, so feel free. Yeah.
Okay, so about like this whole thing about. Yeah, I'm trying to remember what the fuck your point was, but what I was gonna say is that like Ryan, yeah, like a genius can still have like weak techniques, right? And we know this to be true because Ryan himself stated that like we know this motherfucker doesn't train, right? And he said verbatim that like, okay, I haven't practiced these techniques since I learned them. I'm rusty as fuck or whatever the fuck. So that just goes into like saying that like, okay, you can be like a genius, right? But like you'd still have to like practice, right? And you can like a genius can practice and like still get stronger, just like technique wise, I guess. And what was the other one? Uh, I'll remember it later.
Okay, I don't have an issue with the first one, so if you remember the second one, go ahead and say it. What the fuck? Why can I? Nick, bro, was I in Fallen Demon when I read this shit? What the fuck?
Yeah. Honestly, I mean, I really feel like the omening, to be honest, because I already have like counter arguments to kind of like assume that like even if it was like the scaling really wouldn't go anywhere, but I'm gonna be an asshole and just like make you still get them. So
Yeah, fine by me. I understand because again, if I can't
So
find
you're
them, I can't
purposely
find
making the
them.
debate long, fag.
I second that. Bag.
wow. So you want me to like
Damn.
not let him prove his point just for your convenience?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, that's why nobody. That's why nobody has
Even man agrees too, bitch.
Max. That's why nobody has.
What was that?
Somebody got it, bro. Max, you gotta start perma abusing Big Dot.
It's not true.
They silenced them because he told the truth. It's not even a they. It's just fucking Max.
Who y'all kick? No.
Spurg.
Spurg. Can I have my ball?
Maybe I did imagine it. Jesus. Unless it's just not in the scan server, and I'm not gonna comb through the whole fucking city. I guess I just don't have it. That's tough.
Okay. So
But yeah, I guess I have to drop this point then. This guy? Thank you.
God
Yeah.
damn. That nigga Mike is low.
Who the fuck was that?
It
That
was
was
some dude.
Catholic.
Catholic, some
repentance.
fucking dude. Yeah, you guys gotta get him out of here.
Can we
The
ban him,
goat.
please?
King.
He irked me.
Not Spurg.
That shit was, yeah.
I timed him out. Should I
Yeah.
ban him?
Yeah, you leave it to Kai on whether or not he's done.
You can do that on your own. So go scan.
Well, no, I have to drop my scaling because I don't have the scan to substantiate it. Feels bad, man.
All right. GG.
Rough,
Yeah, I
buddy.
guess we just here on yeah. Good debate.
Wait,
Alright.
that's it?
Wait, is the
We
debate
have to
done?
wait for
That's
we have to
it,
wait for
bro?
judgment.
Is the debate done?
We have to
Bro,
wait for
what
judgment
was
to go
this
any
about?
further.
Kai,
Yeah,
let's play something. Now that the debate's done, let's play something.
Well, listen, wait.
Let's
Don't
play
comment too
something. Let's
much.
play something. Shut up.
Don't comment too much.